that, but I'm at peace with that.
Son las 12 de la madrugada, mirándome en el espejo.
What's up, Johnny Cash? How about that time you gave me like 3 different STDs?
Are you kidding? Just kidding. Just kidding. You got your wife, you got your kids, you got your castle.
Daddy!
I'm supposed to terrorize the herd. That's my function.
God allows me to walk through the darkness and come back into the light.
What did you see in me?
I heard that you were this big bad gangster.
You're taxing 43 different street gangs. That's thousands of dudes in the most violent subculture in Los Angeles.
The count's short.
Who are you? I'm the future, and you the past. Got your kids. You want to buy them back?
You don't think he wants to spill blood? He wants to cut your heart up.
Can't run with what's left.
I got a 380 on each ankle, 38 in my right, 25 on my left, chopper in the trunk, Glock in my belt. I'm on it.
Took my kids, man.
I'm riding with you till the wheels fall off.
You're bad. You ain't that bad, all right?
Open your mouth.
He'll splatter your brains out. I don't want that.
I do. I want that.
Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another edition of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And right now I have with me is actress Cheyenne Rae Hernandez of the new action thriller film, The Tax Collector. Cheyenne, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. So the film it's really dark, really gritty, really violent. How did you get involved with the project?
Well, actually, I auditioned for another show that David was working on, and it was my first audition in Hollywood, so I just expected to get some experience out of the audition itself, and then I got a call back, and my manager totally didn't expect that yet. He's like, oh, okay, and so we kind of scrambled a bit, and then went, and then had another call back, and so we were like, oh my God, I have a really good chance right now. And then I get a call that show wasn't going to go forward anymore. So I was heartbroken, really sucked. And then I get a text from David Ayer, and it just said, don't give up. You really have something. Actually be at this place at this time. Show up at this place. And then in a room is Bobby Soto, Cynthia Carmona, myself, and Conejo. And we had no idea what to expect. And then David Ayer walks in, gives us the plot of the movie, and tells us which characters were going to be. Any questions? So, of course, we were like, no, okay.
Sign me up.
I know, it was just crazy. And then literally from that point on, it was just rehearsal, dojo, rehearsal, nonstop until we started filming. That's
so cool. So that's a great story, actually, on how you got the role. So.
Yeah.
And yeah, the rest of the cast is also pretty amazing. What was it like working alongside these great actors and actresses?
Oh my God, I count my blessings every day. I mean, there's still some of my best friends in the world. I mean, they're just all amazing, every single one.
Was there a camaraderie on the set? Did you guys hang out when the cameras weren't rolling? What was that like?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's funny because so we would get up early, we would go to the dojo, we would fight together, wrestle, and then go to rehearsal. And then afterwards, we're all still hanging out in the parking lot of the studio, just talking, sitting on cars and stuff. So it's like we were with each other 24/7.
Nice. And
even now, we still have the house parties on with the camera and stuff, and I mean, we still call each other. Lana Faria is still one of my best friends in the world. Chelsea Rendon. I mean, it's just crazy. This movie gave me a family. I went from being homeless to now having this amazing group of friends. It's just crazy.
And tell me a little bit about your journey. I know that you were in the Army, and you're also involved with martial arts and boxing. What was your experience like, your early experiences, and how did that transfer into the film? Like, how did you make that journey?
Well, so I finished up in the Army. I was medically retired. I got in a really bad military accident, so I can't feel any of this.
Okay.
And you can't drag soldiers across the battlefield when you can't feel any of this.
No.
So I was bummed because I thought I was going to be in the military longer than I was. And I was almost at my 4-year mark when I got discharged. And so I didn't have a path. I knew I wanted to act. I knew that there was all this stuff that I wanted to do, but you know how people just kind of go, oh, one day, one day, one day. Yeah. Well, I was faced with that. Is it one day, someday, or is it today? So I just packed up myself and my cat, and I drove out to Hollywood, and I wound up having to take my cat to my grandma's house all the way in Texas so that she could watch him, so that I could, because I didn't have a home. And so, of course, my family was really worried. They didn't want me to go back to LA. I was living out of a car or couch surfing at friends' houses. And it was really hard. It wasn't fun. But once I got cast in this role, everything just started to turn around. And it's funny because I remember filming, and then hair and makeup said, oh, you can keep one outfit from your character. And my character had so many gorgeous outfits, but I picked the one that had jeans because I didn't have any jeans. I had lost so much weight for the role, and I only had one pair of jeans. And so I was like, okay, I have to be practical about this. What's something I can keep wearing? And so it's just little things like that that I still hold on to, you know, from the movie.
Okay.
But then martial arts, David put me in martial arts for my role. He put all of us in there. And it was just cool because I had the military background. So I was used to combatives. I grew up with brothers. I was used to rough housing. And my dad taught me how to fight and knife fight when I was younger. And so it all just kind of came easy in the movie. And I remember my sensei being like, how do you know how to do that? And I'm like, oh, I learned this when I was like 5. And so it came easy and fast. And I fell in love with martial arts so much that I never left. To this day, I'm still at the dojo. And so I think David had intended for us to just get an idea of what it was like. And now I'm up to my blue belt. And so I fell in love. And even, during filming, my character was so deep and raw, and she had so much darkness in her that I would show up to the dojo at like midnight, 1 a.m, and he was always there. And I would just kind of knock on the door, and he'd be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I just need to go hit stuff in the back. And he's like, okay. And then I would just go hit stuff in the back. And I brought a lot of my baggage from the military into this role, and I feel like this role helped me get past it. And it was just very healing.
Yeah. Did you do your own stunts as well?
Yes, I had to fight for that, but yeah, they hired a stunt double on set, and I got there and I was very much in character, and I was so upset that they had a stunt double. And so I pretty much annoyed David until I got my way, and he let me do it. But it was under the condition of if I messed up once, then the stunt double would take over, because we didn't have enough squids and stuff for more than 2 takes. And so I did it, and then I was just kind of in my head just crossing my fingers afterwards, please, please, please let it work. And then every single time he just came out and was like, okay. Next. So,
and then they sent one person home. That's cool. What was it like working with David?
David's amazing. The thing is, you really have to trust him, because he kind of breaks you down until you're just nothing, and then only then can he build you back up. And so when you go into working with David, he will tell you, you need to trust me to get you where I need you to be. And then you need to trust me that I'll bring you back afterwards. Okay. And that was hard for me. I remember being in rehearsal and him making me stand in front of everybody. And he was like, tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me what scares you. And I still had this, this exterior, this really hard exterior from the way I grew up and from the military, where I was like, nothing. And he's like, you're not afraid of death. And I was like, no, I welcome it. And he just kind of kept throwing things out that I should be scared of. And I just was like, nope, nope, nope. And then he would ask me, "Who are you?" And I would say Cheyenne, and he would be disappointed. And it wouldn't click. And then as time kept going, my walls started to break down. And I remember one time being in front of everybody and he said, "What are you scared of?" And I just broke down in front of everybody and said, "I'm terrified to lose you guys. I'm terrified that I love you guys so much. And I'm terrified that one day you're just not going to be there." And I was just crying. And I remember leaving set that day, and I actually pulled over and I called David, because once I broke that dam, I couldn't stop. Like, I was like, "I can't stop crying." And it was like crazy. And he was like, trust the process. This is the first step. And from that point on, it started turning into, "Who are you?" And then I was like, I don't know. And then it was, "Who are you?" And then I was like, "I'm Gata." And that was my character. And so it did take me a while to break out of that character afterwards, but it got me there.
And you know, speaking of characters, you play Gata. You're so villainous. You're so evil in this movie. It's great. And you're so nice in person. So it's like a testament to a true actor. So what was it like getting into character for Gata?
Well, the thing about Gata is anybody has the potential to become that evil. And I think that Gata, the best way I can describe her is she is what happens when people let go of their humanity, essentially. When people let go of their inhibitions and just become raw and animalistic. And it was hard, because even on set, I know that I would be hardcore Gata. I would have no inhibitions. I was just mean, ruthless. And then something would happen that would kind of trigger Cheyenne's humanity, and I would have to I would snap out of it and be like, "Oh my God. And then all of a sudden it's like I go back into it and I don't care anymore. But it was crazy. It really was a crazy thing. But I feel like Gata is who I could have been if I didn't follow the light. If I didn't make the right choices, if I decided to just say, "You know what, I give up on everybody else. I just don't care anymore."
Okay.
And yeah, so but the thing is Gata, what's cool about working with David is he will give you this character and then he allows you to create their backstory. So Gata, I have journals and journals of Gata's life prior to Tax Collector. And so I would sit there and just write. How can I justify how evil she is? What happened to her in order for her to get this way? Yeah. And so, her dad killed her mom, and then he sold her into sex trafficking, and so it's like she realized she was being used as this toy, as everyone's plaything. And so she took back her control using her sexuality and using the power that she had over men and over everybody else. And she turned off her emotions in order to get like that. And it's almost, when you know her life, you can understand how she got that way. And you almost feel sorry for her instead of, "Oh my God, she's just evil."
Right.
And yeah. So
we're just presented with this like really strong, visually striking villainess, and the stuff you just mentioned from your diary, that I think that would have made a great movie too, actually, like a prequel.
Well, I had to make it so that people could understand why she got that way, because no one's just snaps their fingers and all of a sudden they're that evil.
Unless they're psychotic.
Yeah, there's that, but.
So I'm sure this is obviously very physical film, a lot of stunts, a lot of action. I'm curious, what were some challenges that you faced on set?
Honestly, trying to be sexy. Do it.
I struggle with that every day.
Oh my God, David, he would sit me down and he's like, "You have to find it. I don't care how you do it. You just have to find it." And Shia was like, "Let's go salsa dancing." So Shia took me salsa dancing, and
fun.
They were laughing at me actually because of how uncomfortable I was being. I don't like crowds. I don't like people touching me. And so I was like, oh my God, this is awful. And Cynthia Carmona, she tried to teach me how to dance, like sensual dancing and stuff. I'm a dork. So it was just so bad. And it wasn't until Chelsea Rendon, she told me, she's like, stop. And she's like, look, she's like, everybody has their own type of sexy. She's like, Cynthia's sexy in her way. She's like, I'm sexy in my way. And she's like, and you're sexy in your own way. She's like, you're just trying to play around with everyone else is sexy. She's like, you're sexy in the way that you can handle a weapon, you can fight. She's like, you're that badass. And I'm like, okay. And so I kind of went into my comfort zone, and I fought, and I handled the weapons, and I started to feel more empowered once I was back in my comfort zone. And then after that, I started to branch out, and I was like, okay, I can do it. And so I would go to lessons and just kind of dress more provocative, and I would make eyes at people and flirt. And then I started to kind of feel a little bit, and I was like, oh my God, this is why girls do this. This is fun. It's so empowering.
There you go.
But so I started to get into that. And then I would sit in front of the mirror, and I would just pretend to be a snake in the mirror. I know that sounds weird, but I would just kind of, do that. And just because I wanted to make Gatha, serpent-like. Huh. And so I just kind of found these little ways to make her sexy in her own way, in a powerful, I can kill you type way. Like, you don't know if she's gonna kiss you or kill you type of thing, And so then I found sexy, and I remember I ran into the rehearsal, and I was all excited, and David was like, okay, as long as you found it.
Wow. So this sounds like it was a very therapeutic experience. This doesn't sound like a job. This sounds like therapy for you.
Oh, it was so much fun. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was hard. Those days, it was so hard. But it was so much fun. I think the biggest pressure was I didn't want to let everybody else down. I'm the newest person on there as far to the industry. And when you're working with these people that have been through this stuff and have been successful, you don't want to be the weak link,
Right.
And so that was hard, but it was, even when I wasn't acting on set, I was still on set, and I was behind David, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Can I help?
That's funny. Cool. So I'm really glad that the mood on set was light, not like the tone of the film itself, which is much, much darker.
Depends on what day you're talking about. Okay. The thing is when you're method acting, things can get outrageously out of control. Okay. And that happened quite a bit. I know that people have been talking about how Shia almost got in a fight with a stunt guy. That was crazy. It was like, the thing is people look at him and they're like, oh, okay, he's crazy. He's a genius. Shia LaBeouf is literally a genius. Yeah. And he when he becomes that character, he's so in it, and he just doesn't come out of it. But that's why when you watch him in that movie, you're like, oh my God, he is Creeper. Mm-hmm. But on set, it was, I know this one time, he almost got in a fight with the stunt guy, and the stunt guy wound up pushing him into the table, and he fell on top of the table. Glass went everywhere. He had a pistol in his hand, and it pistol whipped Conejo, and so you just see blood, and then it pistol whipped my knee, and so that was bruised for a while. Yes. But I remember just like I'm got that, but then I love these people to death. And so I see the stunt guys coming toward him, and I'm like, no, and I just kind of go over Shia. Huh. And because I know that they're not going to hit me, but I didn't know what was going to happen.
That was smart.
So I just remember going, it's okay. And just trying to calm everything down. But right. Set can get intense, really, really intense. And David's always there to monitor it and bring it all back down. Like, okay, everybody knock it off. But I know Shia and I got into spats on set too as our characters, and then afterwards it's all love. But it's just it's sometimes a scary place to be, because you never know whose character is going to do what.
Right. kind of like an actual family. So yeah, it's very accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the film is very interesting, very, very violent and very intense. What do you hope audiences take away from the film?
You know, what I really like about the film is that, you know, especially in the end, it has David saying, I don't want this. I don't want this. And a lot of people think that people join gangs because they want to, because it's cool. And a lot of times that's not the case. I mean, look at David's character in the movie. I mean, his father was the leader of it all. He had no choice. He was wrapped into that whether he wanted to be or not. In fact, he said, I don't want it. And Wizard just kept saying it wants you. And so a lot of times, you know, I hear people talking about gays and they're like, oh, well, if that's the life that they chose, then that's on them. And I mean, I grew up around this stuff. So I know so many people that didn't have that choice. And so I think it kind of sheds a light onto the reality of some people's world, where it doesn't matter if they want the violence or not, they're forced into it. And so I like that it showed that, and I like that it showed that even though they were doing something that wasn't right, they had a family, you know, they love their family. And sometimes life just kind of forces you into these situations that are unavoidable. And I think that the movie did a good job at explaining that.
Yeah, it's a tale of morality and choosing sides and choice versus being forced into a situation. So yeah, the film definitely handles that very, very well. I just had a quick question to you. As an actress in the age of COVID, what is it like for you? I mean, obviously it's a challenge, but how are you personally and professionally dealing with it?
It's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. It's very frustrating. I feel like I do my best when I'm in front of somebody. And especially when it comes to auditions, I feel like I can, if I ask enough questions, okay, what do you want from this character? I can give it to you. But when the auditions are coming in and it's just kind of giving me half of a description of what the character is, it's more tricky than if I was going in person. But I'm still auditioning, and I have my eye on a couple of projects right now, so hopefully that pans out. And yeah, I'm just trying to get as many Zoom meetings and Skype meetings as I can, constantly looking that stuff up. So yeah, just trying to reach out to as many people as I can.
Okay, that's great. That perseverance. So I'm really happy.
Exactly.
Really happy to hear that. Are there any projects you're working on now that you can talk about?
Nothing that's set in stone, so I can't quite talk about them yet.
Okay.
But fingers crossed.
Okay. And The Tax Collector is out now. It's on demand, right? How can people see it?
Amazon Prime, I think Apple TV. Yeah.
Okay.
The one I always say is Amazon Prime. That's where I got mine on.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Well, congratulations on the film, and best of luck to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cheyenne. And thanks everyone for watching. This has been Unger the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next week. Thanks.